Congressman, can you please just clarify how you will get the ARs and the AKs back?
I expect our fellow Americans to follow the law. If you own an AR-15, if you own an AK-47, and it is now no longer legal to own that, then I expect you to turn it in.
Will the bad guys do it, though?
Look, if someone is defying the law, then there will be consequences, just as there is for any law that's on the books right now. So I think we should have some faith in our fellow Americans, gun owners and non-gun owners alike, including the owners of AK-47s and AR-15s, to do the right thing.
Okay,
Thank you.
Are you, Senator, the AK or the AR, illegal or legal?
I want to answer this because it's a really important question first.
Would you vote to? Would you vote to remove President Trump, given what you know
So
now?
we are talking about a process in this country to remove the president of the United States from office. This is something I feel a sense of urgency about, and I understand every single day that this has to be done in a way that more unifies this country, not further tears us apart. People are criticizing Nancy Pelosi right now and say she should have her mind made up and file. That often scores political points, but it doesn't create the broader coalitions that this country needs at this point in time. So I don't even know what the articles the House is going to write up on to do my job as a juror. But this is one thing I do know. I have sworn an oath to support and defend the Constitution. I will do my duty in the Senate, especially because I believe this president has violated his.
Now, the AR and the AK should be legal or illegal?
I'm sorry, what are you saying?
The AR and the AK guns, long guns, should be illegal or legal?
Again, I have been very clear on this issue. We are at a time in America where fear is saturating our society. And we are a nation right now that is allowing the worry that we have from our houses of worship to our schools, for us not to have the courage to do what the majority of Americans agree on, from background checks to gun licensing. So anybody who wants to know where I stand, I have the most comprehensive, far-reaching gun safety platform there is. But to get this accomplished, we're going to have to, again, begin to unite people on where we agree and not divide them on where we don't.
Mr. Steyer. So tell me about this. Can you become the Democrat nominee with such a emphasis on the climate? How are you going to win that?
Look, I have 10 years of organizing coalitions of ordinary American citizens to take on corporations, and we've been beating them. That includes taking on the oil companies and beating them. It includes taking on the utilities and beating them. So absolutely, I would declare a climate emergency on day one.
What's the top tax rate for corporations?
Way too low.
What's your best top
Oh, you mean
tax
what's
rate?
mine?
Yeah.
Look, the question is not what is the rate. The question is what do they pay? You know, you see, whatever it is, Amazon's paying zero. I mean, if you look at what's going on in terms of corporate America, down the line, they've bought the rules they want to have. And you can tell because the profit margins, if you look since 1980, the profit margins in American corporations have done nothing but grow. That's the secret to why there's so much income inequality. The people associated with those bottom lines have done nothing but grow, and working people literally haven't had a raise.
Doesn't a rising tide lift all boats?
No, that's the problem. Everybody assumed in America a rising tide lifts all boats, but go look at the numbers. That's why Americans are so pissed, because a rising tide has only lifted the yachts. The fact of the matter, 95% of Americans, it hasn't raised their boats. So they know that this government, look, everybody in this country knows this government's been bought. It's not a secret. I'm saying something that everybody knows. The question is, what are we gonna do about it? And for 10 years, I've been taking on those corporations and beating them. And I'm saying, go to the videotape, see who's done it. I've done it as an outsider.
Mr. Steyer, you said the best way to beat Trump is by having another billionaire beat him.
No, that isn't what I said. What I said was the best way to beat Trump is to be able to talk about the economy and take him down. He's rotten on the economy, but we need to tell the American people, look, I know I've spent years in business studying what makes countries and companies prosperous. We need somebody who can take him on the economy and expose him for what it is. He's a fake.
Is there ever been a better economy in the history of the world than our current economy?
Yes.
Name one.
Look, you are looking at something. You're looking at the average. Don't look at the average. The issue we have here is what's happening to 90% of Americans. Really? Take a look at who's gotten all the money for 40 years. So on average, it works out.
Unemployment rate is at a record low, 3.5% fully employed.
Is at a record
Wages
low,
are up.
and people can't afford to live on the wages. That's the point. Everyone talks about economics like it's all about job creation. Look, people can't afford to live on the wages. Healthcare is chewing them up, but also they aren't getting raises. Look around this country. Take a look at the actual facts. I'm not making stuff up. Everyone in the United States knows that they're in trouble and that they're not sharing in the prosperity. And they know it's because these corporations own the government. It's true.
When the Midwest are feeling that, what's your message to Midwestern voters, like the ones here in Ohio?
There's no question what we have to do. Look, we have to raise the minimum wage. We have to rebuild the labor movement. We have to give working people a living wage, and we have to do every single one of those things in terms of fairness, but also about growth. Look, take a look at my plan. I mean, I am talking about breaking the corporate stranglehold on the government, but I'm also talking about investing in Americans and making us much more. That's how we succeed, is investing in the people. And lastly, I want to harness the innovation. Look, we need a vibrant private sector. I worked in the private sector for 30 years. I know we need that. Mr. Trump isn't doing that. He's a fake. He's really hurting working people. And we have a low unemployment rate, absolutely true, but people can't afford to live on their wages. They have two jobs. They're living hours from where they work because they can't afford housing near where they work. We have 59,000 homeless people in LA, just one town. Look, the people of this country are suffering, and they've been suffering for 40 years, and they know it. And this government has not reacted. If you listened to that debate, did you listen to the debate? It was one long story of failed government, failed government, failed government. They're talking about gun violence. Okay, gun violence. What is that, a new topic? We've had 330 mass shootings this year in the United States. They're talking about Parkland. Parkland wasn't this year. This has been going on for decades.